You're listening to the OK Dad podcast.
Please leave your message for
Daddy-o.
Okay, Dad podcast. Let's start this thing.
Can you not put that on YouTube?
You're listening to my husband talk a lot.
What's going on, Matthew?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. You go by Matt now?
Yeah,
Not
Matt.
Burkett?
Maddie. I've been called him off.
Sweet, man. Well, I'll just call you Matt.
Sounds good.
Dude, it's been what? How many years now? 6?
Oh man,
Plus 6?
something like that. Yeah, I left Washington in the summer of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
I left the summer of 2014. That's when I left.
Yeah, you got out, right? You went
Yeah.
reserves.
Yeah, I went reserves.
Yeah, a lot happened, man. I reclassed and went to Texas. I was in aviation for a while,
Yeah.
and then went to Central Europe, all over the place down there, and then I got out. I took a parenthood separation. I got out.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was
And-
that? Was that easy to do?
It's fairly easy. See, at the time I was married and I have custody of my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So when that all happened, it was a whole mess. I was a single parent, with custody and everything. I just dropped my packet. All right, shower time, Natalie. Go get a shower. I basically just said, yeah, I'm not gonna. I elect to get out rather than doing the whole family care plan packet thing.
Right.
They sent me home from Europe 2 weeks early,
Okay.
and I got back and I was out of the Army in 30 days.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. I got back here. My mom had Natalie for the remainder of my rotation over there.
Yeah.
I got back. I surprised Natalie. She didn't know I was coming back. I did.
Oh
I
man.
surprised
So
her.
you just have one daughter?
Well, I have two now. See, Kristen, my wife, she was a longtime best friend. Like, we have this huge story all the way back to, gosh, we've known each other since middle school.
Okay.
I had a back in middle school, and then we became best friends in high school, like
Yeah.
inseparable best friends. It was the whole, friend zone type thing. I was in love with her.
Yeah.
and
Did she know? Did she know you were in love with her?
it seemed like everyone knew except for her.
Oh, really?
It was one of those deals, and like, we'd be hanging out all the time. Sometimes people would even ask, like, "Are you all together?" And we just both laugh, like, "Ha ha ha!" No,
Yeah.
we're just, yeah. But we were inseparable, man. I drove her to school every day. My parents had given me a car when I turned 16, and we rode together to school, and we were just all the time together. And I joined the Army, moved away 7 years.
Yeah.
We both had kids. We each had a kid in that time frame, and
Okay.
and I actually moved back home. And when I came back and surprised Natalie, Kristen was there. She's friends with my family too. Like, she considers my mom a really close friend as well. So she met at my mom's house. She met my mom there, and she like recorded the whole surprise when I surprised Natalie.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And then we got to talking, we reconnected, and I finally told her, like, yeah, I was totally in love with you growing up and everything. And we ended up going out that night after the kids went to bed. We just walked up the street to a little place up the road and just played some pool, had a few beers, and then my buddy kind of coerced her into like making a move, and then I ended her out on a date. It's history after that. But
Yeah. So did y'all have any connections like when you joined the Army? Or y'all kind of like lost connection?
it was kind of like we kept in contact for a little while.
Like
and
social
then-
media stuff?
Yeah, and then like there was one time about 3 or 4 years before I got out, I came back home to visit, and it was at a time when we were both single, and I kind of saw things going in a different direction than she did, and I made a move on her, and she kind of like hesitated, and I kind of took that as like you leading me on. I got all mad, and like we didn't talk for the longest time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like 3 years we didn't talk.
Yeah.
And but after I got home, we reconnected again, and we hit it off, and it was just like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
You just got married, right? December?
yeah,
I think it
yeah.
was December 20th.
November 21st.
November. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Me and my wife were ready to go. We had it all planned out. Usually we'll try to take a trip once or twice a year. And
yeah,
when y'all posted that you were getting married, I was like, dude, let me
yeah,
know and we'll go down there. Sure enough, he sent us a card. I put in my PTO. We were going. My wife already put in hers, and then COVID hit.
yeah,
Couldn't do anything.
yeah,
We had to just call it. We're like, okay,
yeah,
well, everything's shut down. We'll pull it. Next time we go up there, we definitely should get together though, man.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we can. All right. Yeah, definitely. We'll. I mean, if you come in the wintertime, there's like some like ski resort. There's a ski
Yeah.
resort stuff. And I mean, there's plenty of outdoor stuff. Like there's a place I went to this summer, did some zip lining, and they have all sorts of other crazy cool stuff up there.
Dude,
It's a couple hour drive for us, but
we started traveling a bit. Of course, this is before COVID. We went
right.
to Colorado Springs and we did a zip line across the canyon there.
Oh man.
And my back's still messed up from all the jumps and rucks we were doing.
Yeah.
I got in it. I'm like, this is gonna be some crazy stuff. But I didn't expect when you finish or you go to the end and it slams you and it like the catch for it. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that at all. I felt like my spine just like opened up, dude.
Yeah.
It's
It was
crazy.
we I don't know how fast we were going, but we were up there like I don't know how high it was. I can't remember. I'd have to ask, but it was their braking system. It wasn't too bad. It kind of like it slowly
Catches you and stops.
yeah. So it wasn't too bad, but it was the view from just it was crazy. We actually had on our honeymoon, we were scheduled to go parasailing 800 feet high.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know. That just like made me think of that.
Dude, I
We
saw pictures of y'all's honeymoon.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. Y'all took y'all's kids, right?
No, we actually had our family take our kids for us.
Oh, okay. I think I
Yeah,
saw y'all. Maybe it was y'all fishing or something. Y'all were just like
yeah,
out in the creek, and I saw you out there. I think it was still like short. It might have been shortly after y'all just got married. Then.
yeah. Because we went from our venue to a hotel by the airport, and we flew out the next morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but um we went down to the Keys,
Yeah.
and we did we went jet skiing in the Gulf, and we went deep sea fishing in the Atlantic, and that's probably what you saw the pictures on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I might have been that then, dude.
yeah, we
So
did.
you're
And
how old is your daughter?
she's 8.
And then
Just
and then Kristen has a daughter as well.
yeah, she turns 4 in March.
Okay. How
Yeah.
how is that going? How old were they when y'all started reconnecting?
Oh man, when we got together, they were gosh, I got home in 2018. So Natalie was 5, about to turn 6, and 2018. So Aria was only like 18 months when
Yeah.
when we got together. Um, but it's like a whole blended family. Like every like the whole transition just went like so smooth.
As
Everyone,
smooth as you can think, right?
yeah, it all came together like a big family. When I moved back, of course, my plan was to stay with my parents until I found a place, but I was like, I don't really want to live with my parents after being on my 7 years.
Yeah, right. No one does.
So we just moved into her apartment, and then we got a bigger apartment, and then I was waiting until I was finished schooling and everything, and until I got a job where I could get approved for a loan, of course, because they won't count your GI Bill money as income, so they
You're right. Right.
can't get a loan. So then out of nowhere one day, they finally made a decision on my VA claim,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a pretty good
Man.
rating. So then I was like, all right, awesome. So we found this little house in a nice neighborhood in Kaiser, West Virginia. It's about a half an hour from where I grew up.
Yeah. That's not
Beautiful.
bad. Right
And
next to home.
yeah, 16-year-old house at the time, and I mean you can't find many newer houses like that in this area. So
Yeah. Does it have any land with it, or is it like a suburban area?
it's more like kind of like a suburban area. Yeah, it's a small land, but our next big plan is to save up, and we want to. There's tons of like plots of land.
Yeah, man. That's the way to do it. Just get
Yeah.
a couple acres. I've been talking about this probably the past 3 or 4 days at work. We have a bunch of new hires, so I'm telling them my background and my story. We got chickens probably last October. Not this past October, but that like a year ago.
I remember seeing that.
And dude, they're so much fun. I enjoy them more than like a dog or a cat. They don't need that much attention. And
Chris
Cindy,
smiling at me like, yeah, we need.
she's like,
this.
let's get some. No, they're awesome, dude. You go out there, you feed them, you put water, and we try to make it like my daughter's responsibility. So she has to take care of them. She has to feed them. And if she forgets to feed them, or if she forgets to give them water, like these aren't cats or dogs, they're not gonna die.
Yeah.
They're able to like they clean up so much bugs around the yard that when a like Terminator came to try to clean everything up, they were like, "There's really not a lot of bugs here." And I was like, "Hey, you're right." And I have 2 parts of the yard separated, and the half where I didn't let them go, there were tons of bugs. But now we're in a suburban area, and the HOA got hold of it, and they're like, "Hey, you got to get rid of these." So I fought them for about 3 or 4 months. My wife was behind me, and they're like, "No, we're not making an exception, no matter what." Like, and we're like, "All right." So we let them go. And same thing, man. Like we have a house, we want to keep the house. We're just looking at maybe getting land somewhere in the future. It's not gonna be like next week, but we definitely want it so we can have some of those freedoms back to just have a freaking chicken in your yard. You can't even do that.
Yeah. Like, all right, thankfully we have an HOA that's not like super involved or anything. They're just kind of like, pay your dues, we'll take care of your road. Like that's about it. But yeah, this whole area, the 3-county like range that we live in, like there's nothing but like plots of land. There's tons of plots of land that you can buy, and that's what we want to do. Of course,
What are they going for out there?
I don't even know. I haven't even started doing my research yet. But
how many acres do you think y'all want?
we're not thinking of nothing huge. Maybe just 2 or 3 acres.
Yeah, that's a good amount, though.
Yeah,
some room.
You'll hear a lot of people out here like, yeah, I got 27 acres or 100-something acres.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
and what do you do with?
Because then I got to take care of that. So no,
Yeah.
I'm down for like 10, 15. I want to have a couple cows, a couple random, like if it's legal to have ostriches, I would like to have like an emu or an ostrich, just some like weird animal. So when you're driving by, you're like, does that guy? I see the goats and the cows are normal, but does that guy have an ostrich? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And my wife's on board. When I see y'all's pictures, I tell my wife, I'm like, these guys are just us. Like, this is how we are. We're usually like goofy with each other. We're usually like
Yeah.
posting pictures like that. So it's good, man. Just that genuine kind of love. Some of y'all's
Yeah.
posts is like that. What did you say? The one post I remember you put up. You're like, I know it's that gushy love that we have, and it's in your face, and I'm sorry, but we're not sorry. Stuff like that. I think it's
Yeah.
really good to get that out there. There's times where some people don't have that. Some people are always posting like the funny stuff, the happy side, and it's all kind of like pre-manufactured. And
Yeah. It's
your
like a
post,
yeah.
yeah. And your posts to me, they're not like pre-manufactured, like, hey, let's pretend to be silly and then post this, and then you turn right around and y'all are just upset or back on your phone.
Oh no.
And,
It's all
yeah, you can definitely tell that it's genuine just by both of y'all smiles, man.
Yeah, oh Jesus. Sorry, my dog is but no, I mean I mean it helps that, we've known each other for God, what is it, 15, 16 years now?
Yeah.
And such good friends for so long. Like even when we were just friends back in the day, it's like just all goofy and everything, just total idiots together.
Yeah.
We
When
we did our whole teenage rebellion thing together. So that whole what?
you got history and connections.
On the picture right there, like
What
just
button?
describes our friendship.
Oh yeah,
today.
I don't know if you can see it. The bottom picture.
Oh man, when was that? Middle school? High school?
We
Bottom
were
one.
both, like, riding one of those sock horse things together.
Uh,
And it was like in high school. We were at some like garage party, like just total idiots together. Like that's just how it's always been. I mean we're still like that. Like
yeah.
when we go out in public, my goal is to embarrass her
Yeah.
and I make a fool out of myself and try to embarrass her and the kids.
Definitely.
That's just
We're at a movie theater, and when it ends, like it could be the poltergeist or it could be like up. At the end of it, I'm just like, and my wife gets so mad at me. Like now, whenever we go out, I can't even get to the second clap. I get one clap in, and she's like, "Stop that right now."
Yep.
Man.
Oh man. Yeah, we'll go to the grocery store or something, and I'm like, that's just my goal when we go out is to embarrass whoever I'm with, and we'll walk around the grocery store, and if she'll walk away, and I'll like yell for her from like another aisle. I'm like, babe, where are you at? You can't leave me alone. I'll have the kids like yelling for her, or I'll pretend I'm on my phone and say like some embarrassing crap as we're walking past each other, and she's just like, oh my God, I'm not with this person.
This is who I married.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk a couple like 5 feet. I'm gonna walk like 5 feet away from you so I don't look like I'm with you guys.
What does she do?
Well, recently we finally made the decision for her to stay at home.
Okay.
Yeah, we so when COVID hit and everything, I tried to keep doing the whole school thing, but my grades dropped doing online stuff. So I was, this sucks. So I was like, I don't want to kill my whole GPA doing this online crap because I realized I suck at online school.
Yeah.
So I started I found a good paying job and I love the job. I'm pretty good at the job and I mean we're happy with it. And when I started working there and like we talked about it together and we're like, this like what I'm making here is what we were double what we were bringing in before. So, with schools being closed and everything, we're like, someone's pretty much has to stay home and homeschool Natalie.
Yeah.
And, and with all daycares being closed and all that crap still we were just like, at the new job, I'm bringing in enough money that we're more comfortable than we even were before,
Yeah.
even with her working anymore.
So, like, that was usually a big old topic, and it's probably still a big topic for people, different ideas and backgrounds and just cultures coming up. But since you're working like that, how do you feel you're able to like balance like coming home after she's been home all day with the kids? Like, are you able to still help out?
Yeah, I
Or are you
mean,
just there like, hey, Kristen, where's my dinner? Or like, what's going on?
well, see, when I first started there, I was on day shift, and I would come home. I would be up before anyone's up, and I'd be up at like 4 o'clock and out the door, and I'd get home at like, gosh, 8:30 at night, and then but she would have dinner ready and everything, and then uh, but on my days off, like I try my best to do as much, with the girls and around the house, so that it kind of balances out that she pretty much has to do everything the days at work.
Yeah.
But
What are some things that she wants you to do? Like, she's like, no, you're doing this. Like taking out the trash, or is there
yeah,
anything she has like
oh
ground rules for?
yeah, the trash I have to do. That's like she'll even take it out of the bag, or she'll do as much as to take it out of the bag, or
Yeah.
take the bag, out of the can and move it. And when I come home, I have to take it around, put it in the garbage cans and all that. But on my days off, or my days working, like I'm gone like all day, so it's like it's stuck on her. But she does remarkable with it. Like she full on the other. I started night shift recently.
Yeah.
The one day I came home in the morning, and she had completely like redecorated our whole living room, moved everything around, and amazing. Like she took some of the old wedding decorations and like decorated our whole living room with it.
Yeah.
And it just, everything looks remarkable. But
That's
like
not even
whole,
that. I can tell you, like on my days when I stay home with the kids, there's no way that I'm doing all that. And like it's hard doing anything when kids are at home. So like if you're
yeah,
productive, there's times where I'm moving it, like I'm doing some kind of wood project or I'm working on something. All that like is dead in the water if my kids are home. Like I'm not doing anything. I was barely able to jump on this call right on time just because we were putting Asher down, and he went to sleep like clutch like 7:59, or I know we were meeting at 8. Like right at that minute, he's like, "All right, I'll let you go. Good night." But
I don't.
it's so hard to be productive when you got them there. They're just full of energy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how she does it. Like gets everything done that she does. Like because like how my work schedule is, like I'm gone pretty much. Like on the days I work, you pretty much don't see me other than an hour.
What days do you work? You work like
So
4 days, 5 days?
I work 12-hour shifts, but I work 2 days off days and then work every other Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
So a 14-day, 2-week span, I work 7 of those days.
Okay.
So it's not a bad schedule at all. So even though you really don't see me at all on the days I work, I only work half of the days in a 2-week period. So that it's really helpful because like it leaves her with everything on the days I'm working, but on the days, I have more days off and I can help out with everything.
You said, Matt, that like y'all's family was able to blend pretty well together.
Yeah.
What are some things do you think like made that blend happen so easily?
Well, I think for one, like one thing that helped was like my family, my side of the family, my parents and everything, they already knew her. So I guess it helped my daughter get close with her and get to know her better. That she saw not only me but my whole family already knew her and accepted her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That helped a lot. And Arya being so young that she's still, she's at an age that she probably won't ever, well, she definitely won't ever remember us not being together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was helpful. But it was still a hard transition because like we moved from Texas and then moved into her apartment with her and then moved to another apartment and then bought a house and moved. So it was rough, the whole moving. Getting out in general. I'm still not completely acclimated to civilian life, and I've been out 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I can't what it's like for a kid who isn't fully developed.
Yeah.
I don't know what words I'm trying to say here, but I can't.
get you, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
When me and Betty got married, Cindy was 6 at the time, and that transition was difficult, and it took a few years just to kind of like understand in her mind what's going on.
Yeah.
I think when you blend a family like that, it's very difficult to have it come together and be a Hallmark movie.
Right.
There's struggle, but when you're putting in work and effort, it pays off, right? Like you guys, like every one of those pictures, like I said before, they're very genuine. So you can tell the love that you have for each other, the love you have for Natalie, the love that she has for your daughter. Like it's all there and it's present and it comes through those photos, not just like as a pre-stage photo, but an actual photo in life. That's what I think when we start posting more pictures like that, you know, we're able to see one another in true form. As if I went over to your house this weekend, I could look at that photo and this is what would be there. You know, it's definitely difficult for a lot of families when they're coming together and blend. Either somebody's talking bad about a bio dad, somebody's talking bad about bio mom, and it's hard because that child doesn't know which way, who do I trust? Like I trust both of these adults and they're telling me this is bad. And then when I see that, so it's hard. I think if you're able to put all that behind you and just focus on what you guys have in front of you, the transition together goes similar to how yours is going.
I think those two topics you brought up is like a huge thing that helped us was, for one, they both saw through how we expressed it with each other genuine love for one another and a healthy a good healthy relationship. And if the two parents love each other and show that and can express that in the right way, I think that does wonders for the kids and the that are in the middle of that relationship.
Right.
The whole biological parent thing, because when we moved back here, Natalie was finally closer to her mom, and was able to build a relationship, and now they have a an awesome relationship. And the co-parenting thing between me and her biological mom is great, is going absolutely great. There's no bad talk about one another, and that it's not one of those things where Natalie's in the middle of it, and when she's here, mommy's a turd, and when she's there, daddy's
Yeah.
not like that.
That's the biggest struggle I think I've seen, even when people say that it doesn't happen. Like a kid doesn't lie right now the way they are. So you can definitely tell how a kid reacts to those situations. And like you're saying, like you're not saying, hey, mommy's a turd, and she's not saying that about you. You know what I'm saying? That helps a lot. Asher, I didn't know how much kids watch us and catch things. That whole phrase, more is caught than taught. I didn't realize how true that was until Asher probably turned 2.5. Since the moment I've been dating Betty, anytime she gets in on the passenger side of a vehicle, I open the door for her. I don't care if it's automatic unlock, like I'll go open the door for her. And
Mhm.
there hasn't been one time where I haven't opened the door. I'll get all the way in the car and turn the ignition on, and then I'll remember I was like, "Ooh, I didn't open the door for her." I'll get all the way out, and she's like, "You don't have to." I'll get all the way out, open the door, I'll give her a kiss and close the door. And now, like 2.5 years old, my son, I open up the back door and he says, "No, I want to kiss mommy first." So he'll go all the way to the front, he'll give her a kiss, and then he'll sit down in his car seat. And
Oh,
things like that you don't ever really think about. It's just stuff, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of stuff like that that you don't even know. These
well,
are just things that she really appreciates. And then when you see your kids doing something like that, like
yeah.
that's when it really connects. Like, okay, this isn't
And
something we're saying, hey, you need to love your mother or you need to love your father. They're just seeing that and they know, okay, this is what you do when you love someone.
yeah. And it's not a ton that I can think of right off the bat, but there is one thing, and it's kind of like it does show you that more is caught than caught because, and it's something that I need to stop doing now. But I have she already talking about. I have a habit. It's just engraved in me as a man and in our relationship. It is. I feel like it's a healthy part of our relationship to always keep the spark alive, but I never turn down a chance to smack her butt. Every chance she's leaning over to get in the dishwasher, I'll smack her butt. Like every chance I get, I'll do it, and I don't even think are the kids around. Well, recently, Aria, our 3, almost 4-year-old, has started randomly smacking her mom's butt.
Yeah, dude. You wouldn't be a good husband if you weren't doing that, right?
Yeah, it's like,
I
what
try
more do you
to
want?
when the kids are around, I'm trying to sneak that butt tap, but yeah.
Yeah. uh, when she first told me about that, she's like, Aria started smacking my butt now. And I was like, that is hysterical. But at the same time, I should probably stop doing that because I don't need her smacking strangers' butts or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we were thinking too with daycare. There's stuff that we're giving him kisses and stuff, and now we've gotten like a note saying like, "Hey, Asher couldn't keep his hands to himself," and we're like, "Oh, yeah, that's probably our bad." Like,
Yeah.
we'll have a talk with him, but he knows like 300 words. Like, he's not gonna know everything we're talking to him about, but yeah, we'll have a talk with him about it.
Yeah.
Man, so how did Natalie, like, have you had any big moments with Natalie? Like since
Like
she's your stepdaughter, right?
Natalie is my daughter.
Natalie's your daughter, and then Aria.
Is my technically my stepdaughter.
Have you had any like major moments with Aria?
Oh, huge. Like I mean, the bond we have is like crazy because I've been there as long as she can remember. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And um, it was there was this thing at bedtime that um be when we would tuck them in at night, she had a routine. She would get all under the covers and she would look at mommy and go kisses, kisses, and give her kisses. And then I would come up. I'm like, let me give you a kiss. And she's like, no. And she'd like laugh and giggle and like hide under her blanket and all this. And that was like her routine every night. Get kisses from mommy and hide from daddy's kisses. Well, recently, we went on our honeymoon, and we were gone for 5 days. And she stayed. The girl stayed. Natalie stayed with her mom, and Aria stayed with Kristen's parents. And so they were apart, which was huge for them when they got back together. They were so excited, to see each other
Yeah.
again. They were, of course, excited to see us. But that night when we got home, Aria didn't hide from my kisses. She looked.
Ooh.
I was the first one to go back there and tuck her in, and she went, "Daddy kisses." And I was
That's like
like,
the cherry on top after a honeymoon, man.
I was like, "Oh my god, she didn't hide from my kisses this time. She actually
Yeah.
kissed." And she's kind of on and off now. Sometimes she's in a playful mood, she'll hide from him, And some nights she's, in a more loving mood and she'll actually ask for them. But I just thought that was like the first time she had asked me for kisses was after getting back from our honeymoon, seeing how much she missed us,
She was waiting for the moment for you, dude.
Yeah.
She wanted to make sure you remembered it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Back, man. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Natalie's your daughter, and what do you think were some big moments for you to realize just how much you like really appreciated Kirsten? Like what was a big tell for you, if there was any?
Well,
Probably doesn't help with me sitting here.
I know. Yeah.
Kristen can't answer this. She's got to come on another time if she wants to answer questions.
So I had a talk with Natalie, and I was like, good. So Aria had picked up on. They just kind of copy each other, right? So Aria had picked up on Natalie calling Kristen.
Yeah.
Aria picked up on that. So instead of mommy, Aria started calling Kristen, and driving her crazy. She's like, I just want her to call me mommy, and I'm like, it's just that she picks it up from. It's just that she
the older
does everything her big sister does, so she just picks up on it and everything. And Natalie, of course, calls me daddy, and so Aria picked up on that. It's not something we taught her, but she picks up on it because Natalie calls me daddy, and she calls me daddy, and I'm like, when she's old enough, she can make her own decision. She can call me whatever she wants to, but I'm not going to complain about it for now.
Right.
But Natalie,
that's a struggle, man. I know for sure there's people out there that deal with that, and Kristen's probably one of them, right? So Asher's my son, Cindy's my stepdaughter, and Cindy calls me Brian. If we're in a playground, this was when she was like 6 or 7. When we're in a playground, or if we're by ourselves, like me, her in the house going shopping, she's like, "Oh, Brian, this, Brian, that." If we're at a playground, she would run up to people and be like, "That's my stepdad over there. That's my dad. He's in the army. He works for Carvana." Like she's saying all these things, and I'm like, "What? Where is this coming from?" I would come back and I would tell Betty, I was like, "Yeah, she told me like at the playground, she's like introducing me as her dad, saying that I'm in the army." And if it's just us, like at home, she'll call me Brian. "Hey Brian, can you get this?" Or "Hey Brian, there's this." And then there would be moments where she's telling me, "I love you, Dad," or "Hey Dad, can you get me this?" And it's at those, as parents, we're like, "Ooh, like I don't want to tell you to keep calling me this," because like you said, like it's your choice. You're old enough. I don't want to really influence one way or the other, because I think that sends the wrong message too. Like, no, like you're gonna call me dad. But she started calling me Brian, or she was calling me Brian, and then Asher would call me. He would call me Brian sometimes too, and so I definitely feel like how Kristen's feeling. Like, hey, you call me mom, but
yeah.
I was getting that from Asher and telling him, "Hey, Asher, like you can call me daddy." And Asher started calling me daddy. Oh, because he couldn't talk right. So he's still, now that he's 3, he says daddy. And then when I'm like, "Who am I?" I'm pointing at pictures and stuff. He's like, "That's you, daddy-o." So he'll call me daddy-o still. And I'm just running with it. I'm like, "Okay, man, like you're calling me daddy-o. Like everybody gets their nicknames." I was like, "You can call me daddy-o. I'll be daddy-o for you."
Yeah. Yeah, Arya has. See, the thing is, like, there is Arya's dad's kind of been in there. Of course, I wouldn't talk bad about him or anything, but he's been kind of all over the place, like moved around and everything. Now he lives in Ohio, I believe, right? Ohio, but so like there's been months throughout. There's been stretches throughout Arya's life where she hasn't seen her dad, and for months on end.
Mhm.
And then he's recently tried to come visit a little bit more often. He can really only ever make it down whenever his parents can. So it's not super often, but it's kind of at a point now where Arya kind of recognizes him when he comes back. She's still not, I'm still not 100% sure she grasps the concept of who he
Right.
is in me, but I try to give them that time.
Yeah.
Try to not be there for as much of that time. I mean, I'll say, say hello and everything, but I try to give him his time instead of being there where she's
Right.
gonna want to spend time with me because this is the dude who's been in her life all this
Right.
time. I don't want to take time away from you, so I try to not place myself in it. I'll say how you guys doing, and then give you your time. But it's been kind of, but I'm the one that's been there, so it's kind of hard when she does finally make her decision, and I'll give her the decision. You call me what you want to call me. If she chooses Matt, it would be a little heartbreaking because I
Yeah.
have her dad basically for her whole life, but at the same time, it's like I understand,
Yeah.
But she yeah, she'll call him dad. She'll call me daddy. She will call him dad.
Yeah.
So she does make that distinction. Like, I call this guy daddy, I call this guy dad. It's
Yeah.
kind of awkward thing right now, but
Well, as dads, I've always had the belief like anybody can be a parent, right? Like anybody
yeah,
can have relations, have a baby, but it really takes somebody different to actually be a dad. It takes
yeah,
somebody different to actually be a mom. You got to be around, you're doing stuff that they're never going to appreciate. Like nobody appreciates people wiping their butts for them. Like, have we really said like, "Hey, I really appreciate you wiping my butt all the way until I was, however old." Like we're gonna do stuff that they're never gonna appreciate. We kind of want them to, and I
yeah,
think there's also times that we're just extra hard on ourselves, especially when there's like co-parenting involved. So
yeah,
they may not be around sometimes. They may be forgetting a big event that's coming up. They may not be there for something that's major in their lives, riding a bike, learning how to read. And instead of being in that moment with our kids at that moment, we're thinking, man, like that's usually one of the first things that comes into our mind. Man, if he should have been here for this, or man, she missed this and it's such a vital time. And that takes us out of the moment. So I think there's times like if they call you Matt, like, you know what? I'm not doing this so I can be called dad. I'm doing this because that's what a dad does. I'm
yeah,
doing this because that's what a mom does.
yeah.
And like I said, you guys are definitely on the right path, at least in my mind. I'm not a pro, definitely. I call myself an okay dad, but I do really think, man, like when we do this, we're doing this stuff for our kids. Like we
Yeah,
don't want to. We're probably gonna be. You're probably with your hours. You're gonna be working some really tough days, and then that next morning you're probably gonna be needed to go to the doctor, and then you got to hold them down to get a shot. Like it's not
yeah.
fun, man. There's times that aren't fun, and anybody who doesn't have a kid just they don't know that they haven't been there.
And that's like with Kristen. I mean, Natalie's calling her Kristen, and like that it doesn't affect her none. She's like, and she's still a mom to her, and
Yeah.
that was a big thing for them. That, like, when Aria kept calling Kristen by her first name, Natalie said to me one day, she was like, I know I have a mommy. I love my mommy. I like going to see my mommy, but I don't want Aria calling Kristen. I want Aria to call Kristen mommy. So I'm gonna call, and she did this on her own. This was her decision. She said, I'm gonna call Kristen mom or mommy when Aria's around, so she will learn to call her mom. And that's Plus, she's like a mom to me anyway. So,
Yeah.
and that's what she started doing when Arya's around. She would call her mom. She would address her by mom or mommy, so that Arya would pick up on it because that's who she was learning from.
Yeah.
So that was huge for her, and she and
It
she
helps,
explained.
yeah. Cindy was
Yeah,
telling Asher when Asher would call me Brian, like, no, Asher, that's
mhm,
dad. You call him dad. And it, like even that's a big help because they're learning from one another.
yeah.
What do you think was like a huge, hey, I'm doing the right thing with Kristen that you got from your daughter?
From Natalie.
Yeah.
Um, I think. Well, the one day she told me, um, I remember her talking about Texas, and it was hard for her because the woman I was married to was not nice to her behind closed doors. I didn't know that, and she told me one day, she just expressed to me like how much she loved Kristen, and she told me, in Texas, she spoke of Texas, and she said when we were living with, and she didn't even want to say her name. She was like, you know who? I don't want to say her name. And she was like,
We were living with Baltimore. Yeah.
yeah. She's like, I'm much happier here, and I don't ever want to go back to Texas. And I love Texas, but like that's what she
Oh, me
said.
too, man. Me too.
I want to, like, we want to do a trip there in the summer to Texas. But she was like, she expressed like how much happier she was, and like how happy she is to be with Kristen, and
Yeah.
how how well she treats her, and
Yeah.
it,
And
it
these, like everything that we're talking about, these are like big moments too. Like
mhm.
when we come in, you talk to me. We didn't get to do a lot of talking when we were in Lurs back in Washington together. We didn't get to hang out that much. I'm glad that we stayed in touch though, because
Yeah,
really like it shows the brotherhood from the military. Like,
yeah,
hey, you may be 1,000 miles away. We may have only spoke with each other or been with each other for a couple of years in a unit, but we have each other's backs. But it's really hard, especially that unit, right? Like there would never ever be some kind of talking back and forth like this.
no,
it's it's difficult to even get these conversations started and going, and I try to help you like reflect a little bit on it to kind
yeah,
of pinpoint some things. And the stuff that we talk about, I think I talked to Dustin or somebody recently about it, but we wouldn't even be telling like our wives most of the stuff that we're talking about because it's just not something like, hey, you know what Natalie told me that really made my day. It's hard to just bring those up genuinely. And I think
yeah,
it's a good way to reflect. And afterwards, usually, at least with me, every single interview that I've done, like I'll walk right up to my wife and slap her butt again, and then we'll start talking. And I'll start telling her about the stuff that we just talked about. But it's
yeah.
definitely stuff that it's hard just as like guys to bring up out of the blue and just start talking about all this stuff. So
Oh
hope,
yeah.
yeah,
As a dude, like you naturally don't bring up the that
yeah,
that you don't get really sentimental and like reflective, you know.
yeah.
Um
So hopefully this was good, man. It like you said, the reflection part of it
yeah,
helps. And then the more you do some reflection, and like I said, I'm not a pro or anything. I probably don't do it nearly enough as whatever professionals recommend it. But I do think like having some time to reflect, especially like on key moments in our lives and as a dad or in any part of our lives, is definitely beneficial for us. And when we can talk, then it opens up that communication piece with our spouses. Then it helps, even if you don't have a spouse or if you don't have a girlfriend and you're just a single parent, whoever you're connected with, and it opens up that communication piece with whoever you need to have a communication piece, whether it's your family that's helping you out, trying to babysit, like letting them know like, okay, like, hey, I can have this talk with you stop feeding my son or daughter like McDonald's every single day. Like being
Right.
able to have those things, But man, hopefully this was fun for you, dude. You got so I've been saying if you have any kind of final thoughts, I thought I should kind of change that phrase. So do you have any kind of final thoughts? But I'm going to start saying, do you have any fatherly advice you want to give here at the end?
Well, something big for me is trying to think of the right words. Because if I had planned it before, it would have been perfectly worded. Like,
yeah, but I don't want any of that, man. I want this raw, uncut, just genuine, whatever it is conversation we're having.
sure.
That's why I don't somebody else hit me up. Who was it? A good buddy of mine after this last podcast we talked. I was like, "Hey man, when you coming on?" Cuz he just sent me Happy New Year. And I told him, "You coming on my podcast or what?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, what are we going to talk about?" I was like, "I'm not going to text you anything, man. Like just save it for the podcast. Whatever we talk about, we talk about." So,
Yeah.
whatever you want to throw out, man.
I think sometimes we overlook what our kids see and the love we have. Like they should see their parents expressing the type of love that they deserve one day. I think it's huge for them. So if I could word it in any specific way, love your wife in front of your kids and show them the love that they hope to one day have and they deserve.
100%, man. 100% agree. I've talked to Betty a few times about that too. That my wife didn't grow up having a good parent, like mother daughter role, or mother husband wife role model.
Right.
And I don't think I did either. There was not a lot of love in that marriage that you see. And marriages like yours, marriages like mine, I have a couple of friends who they're definitely, you can tell when we're there at a party, we're there at a gathering, you can tell they love their wives. You can tell their wives love and respect their husband. And it's a two-way street. And when you do that, you can tell that the kids know. And definitely like having a role model for that to live up to lets them know like, hey, you shouldn't be settling for somebody that's going to hit you. You shouldn't be settling for
Right.
somebody that's going to like belittle you. You shouldn't be settling for any of that. And it helps them, even if it's their subconscious, know, hey, when I'm happy with a husband or wife, it's going to be with somebody who genuinely loves me and respects me.
Yeah. And when you
Man.
have kids, especially when it's like a blended family, like we've done, it's when you're in a when you have kids and you're in a relationship with someone, the way I look at it is picture your kids in a relationship just like the one you have. Like,
And would you be happy? Yeah.
be happy with that. And if you wouldn't, then this isn't a healthy relationship for them to be a witness of. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I want for both. I want both of my kids to one day have a relationship like the one we have today.
Yeah.
So,
Otherwise, Dad's gonna go hunting.
yeah.
Well, all right, Matt. We'll end it here. It looks like we're almost at an hour already.
All right.
Yeah, it feels like.
And sleep.
I know, man. It goes by quick.
It does.
Well, all right, Matt. Stay in touch, man. You got my social media. You got my info. Like, always hit me up. I'm always here, man. I've been sharing you guys on since you've been posting about you and Kristen, man.
Yeah, man.
For y'all.
Our summer, hopefully all this COVID crap's over, and when we do our summer road trip to Texas this coming, I don't know when, but in the summer I'll hit you up. We'll have to get together
Yeah, man, we gotta have dinner or something when you guys come down here.
Yeah.
I ain't going anywhere, as far as I know. If everything kind of fixes itself and the vaccine and blah blah blah, maybe me and my wife will be able to start traveling again this year too. We'll see. Okay. We're tight right now with our budget. We're gonna make y'all's wedding the exception and go to it. That's why I was like, man. So But all right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kristen, for giving Matt some answers there on the side.
She's the deuces. She's scrapbooking right now. So
Oh, okay. That's more important.
yeah.
All right, Matt. Y'all take care.
All right, you too, man.
All right.
La la.